Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard, I'm Penge, and welcome to day 15 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022. So here we are 15 days in, let's open up the wonderful tea advent calendar and have a little look and try and find door number 15. Where is door number 15? You think they'd be easy to spot because they're gigantic, but no. Right, okay. It's all the way over here. Okay, so it says, speak up. That is literally all I do in the Geek Cupboard Advent Calendar. I just speak nonsense and waffle for quite a long time. We do a lot of speaking up. This happens pretty much all the time on all the videos. In fact, I'm doing it at this very moment in time. So I think we've got that one covered. I do a lot of speaking up. It is not a problem at all. So there we go. I like the way this person's got a sort of a wonderful kind of hand pose going on. That's very exciting. And they're kind of, you know, speaking up as well. They've got a little heart going on. That's quite nice. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that we do a lot of speaking up. There are no problems with that one at all. I think we can very safely tick that off the list and say that yes, I do a lot of speaking up in the Geek Cupboard as we're playing games and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. Let's open up the little door and let's see what today's tea is. I say little door, gigantic tea door. They're not little, are they? So open that up. Okay, so it's in a kind of, you know, sort of a light sort of lilac-y, purpley coloured bag. And the inspirational quote says, "Drink tea to the fullest." Again, I like all of these. These are all wonderful things to abide by. These are wonderful kind of things that you should be doing. Okay, so drink tea to the fullest. Another flavoured black tea in a bag. And we have, oh, okay, French Earl Grey. Earl Grey gets a French twist, which is oh so fruity. A medium-bodied black tea base with pretty petals and notes of fruit that play with classic bergamot, an inspiring, bold and refined infusion. Okay, so black tea, hibiscus, natural and artificial, bergamot, bergamot, bergamot. I don't know how you say that word there. Whatever that word there. Only 2% of that. And then rose petals, sunflower petals, natural and artificial flavouring, mallow flowers. What does that mean? Mallow flowers. Okay, this is intriguing. I never knew there was another type of Earl Grey. I thought the Earl Grey was just Earl Grey, but apparently there is a French Earl Grey, which we're going to try imminently. But of course, before we do that, we have to go to the kettle. And here we are with our lovely freshly brewed cup of French Earl Grey tea. And it looks like a regular cup of Earl Grey, doesn't it? It looks like a black tea. Nothing spectacular going on there. Just, you know, looks like a cup of black tea. And Earl Grey is a black tea. So it looks the part, but it smells different to regular Earl Grey. It smells different. So it's got that regular kind of, you know, Earl Grey smell with that kind of sort of slightly floral scent to it. But also, it smells a bit fruity. It's got fruit smells to it. It smells a little bit maybe sort of possibly even tropical fruity, possibly. A little bit sort of maybe more tropical fruit, like sort of a bit mango-y possibly, or something a bit like that. It's not appley or anything. It's quite interesting. I mean, I'm intrigued because, you know, I thought Earl Grey was just Earl Grey, but now my world has been blown apart because now there are different types of Earl Grey and I never knew. So let's have a little taste of French Earl Grey and see what we think of this. So here we go. Okay, it's Earl Grey, but fruity. That's quite interesting. So yeah, you can tell it's a cup of Earl Grey because it's got that kind of Earl Grey florally taste to it, which I like. I like that because I like a cup of Earl Grey. But then it's got kind of a fruity undertone to it as well. So you can still taste that sort of florally bit of the Earl Grey, but then it's got a kind of a fruity taste as well. That's very interesting. Hang on, I'm going in for more. Yeah, I like that. That is very good. I mean, I think I've kind of described it as it is. It's a cup of Earl Grey. If you've had Earl Grey, you know what it tastes like. And then it's just got a bit of a sort of a fruity flavour to it. Not overpowering, because you can still taste the Earl Greyness of the tea. But it's got a bit of a sort of a fruity. It's not even an aftertaste. It just goes well with it. You can taste both things at the same time. That's very interesting. I quite like it. It's okay. I mean, I like a cup of Earl Grey anyway, and that's just, you know, variation of Earl Grey. But it works well. It works well. I can still taste the Earl Grey type of the tea, the Earl Grey bit, but I can taste a new sort of fruity bit as well. Yeah, I like that. That's a nice cup of tea. I'm very impressed with today's tea. Got some good teas recently. Well done, Advent Calendar. Well done. So let's go over to today's question. Now we have our tea. And today's question was asked by somebody who would like to remain anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. And they ask, what is your computer setup like? What specs do you have? How many monitors? What microphone? Okay, so I am not the biggest kind of computer hardware nerd in the world. I know what the bits do. I know how to put them together, but I don't really know much about them other than that. I don't know the best sort of graphics cards, and I don't know what all the numbers mean when you talk about processors and all that kind of stuff. I can understand what they do, but I don't really know that much about it. I can sort of get by with hardware, so this might be a little bit basic. If you are a huge, big kind of hardware person and you know lots about it, I might be disappointing you here because I don't really know that much about the hardware side of things. So I have a PC from Overclockers, who are, I think they're a UK company. I mean, they probably do ship globally, but I think they're a UK company. And they do custom PCs. And I've always had a PC from them for a long, long, long time. Many, many years. I've always gone back to Overclockers because they were very good back when I could afford to buy my own computers. And I've always gone with them. I've always had very good service, very good computers from them. The price is pretty good. So yeah, I've just gone back because, that's what you do. I'm loyal to them because that's good because they've done me well in the past. So yeah, you can buy one of their sort of pre-configured computers, or you can buy a sort of like a base and then build it up. So you can add bits on and take bits off and, just sort of customize your own one. And that's generally what I tend to do. Because I like to add bits on, and I know what I knew what I needed to do the whole YouTubing thing. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to kind of customize this a little bit. So I mean, the machine I have is possibly a little bit old now. It might be, it's at least 3 years old because it was before lockdown. So that's 2, probably a bit fun. So 3, maybe 3.5, coming up to 4 years old, possibly. I can't quite recall, but it's working well. It's working very well. So as I sit here now, I have a monitor there, so a monitor in front of me. There's a secondary monitor there. My keyboard is normally here. It's normally where my mug is, and my mouse is sort of over here normally. There is the mouse nearby for emergency clicking work. And then the computer is just there. I can tap the computer. So it is literally, so there's the edge of the recording. My computer is about that far away from the edge of recording. So you can, it's not too far away at all. So it's up on the desk because the Geek Cupboard is quite small and I've not really got anywhere else for it to go. So as well, that was quite good while I went to Overclockers, so I could customize it to pick all the various sort of quiet components and things. So here we go. Specs. So you might know what this means. You might be thinking, yay, I like this, hooray, specs. This might mean nothing to you at all if you don't know about sort of, computer hardware and stuff. So processor-wise, I have an Intel i7 4GHz processor, and it's water-cooled with a Corsair sort of water cooling kit thing, which is to keep the noise down. Because you could have had a fan on it or whatever, but yeah, that's a bit noisy. It's a bit noisy. And given that the microphone is kind of up there, we'll come to that in a bit, and the computer's there, I wanted to keep the noise down. So I thought, yeah, a kind of a water-cooled kit would do quite well. So that does keep the noise down. It's got one of the things which lights up on it. So on top of the sort of water cooling sort of bit on the top of the processor, there's like it says Corsair, and then it's got a colour. And you can have it, you can sort of set it up with some software. So you can either have it so it just cycles through different colours, which I thought was a bit pointless. It looks pretty, but it's a bit distracting because, again, my monitor's there and I can see that thing out the corner of my eye. So I've changed it so it reflects the temperature of the processor. So if it's nice and cool and it's operating well, it's in green. And if it's getting a little bit warm, it goes orange. And if it's getting quite hot, if it's been doing lots of stuff and it's generally hot, then it goes a bit red. And I've not seen it go red too many times. It went red this year when it was a boiling hot day, so everything was boiling and it was rendering something. It did go a bit red, so it got a little bit too hot. So, I think I bought a fan in to try to blast some air around. But that's quite handy. It's quite handy. So yeah, so we've got that. And then we've got 16 gig of RAM. We've got the case, which is from a company or whatever called Be Quiet company, organization, whatever. But yeah, they're called Be Quiet. They do all sorts of stuff, I think, but they do cases because, again, it's up on the desk, it's near to the microphone. So I thought I'd get a Be Quiet case because it runs relatively quietly. The only problem I do have, and you might hear this sometimes in some of the videos, is that when I'm recording, if I'm playing a game, the computer's got to run the game and then the audio software and the recording software. And sometimes some games are fine, but some games are a little bit sort of, resource heavy, and the computer gets hot. So all the bits inside get warm, and then occasionally it will kind of click and clack as all the bits, things expand, don't they? Metal and such like expand. So it'll sort of click and clack. So occasionally it'll just kind of go and make these kind of cracking noises. And a lot of the time, if I'm talking, you won't hear it. But if I'm mid-breath or something, if I go, right, okay, and leave a gap, and then it goes crack, and then I carry on speaking, you will hear it. So in the background, if you do hear sort of cracking noises or what sounds like bangs, it's either the computer, because that does it, or the monitor does it very occasionally. The monitor does really loud cracking noise. It's very noisy. So I've got a Be Quiet case, which is pretty good for the most part. It's pretty good. It does keep the noise down quite a bit. 16 gig of RAM. Possibly now, maybe 32 gig of RAM would be the better option, but 16 gig at the time was sort of okay. It was affordable. And then graphics card, I've got an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 Ti. Only one of those, but that's quite good. And it's not like I'm playing sort of the latest 3D kind of, first-person shooters or whatever. It's okay. It does the job for what we use it for. It's okay. So that's in there. We've only got one of those. We've got 3 hard drives. We've got the sort of main Windows boot drive, and then the drive where all the games are. And that's where the game files get stored and where all the editing happens and all the software is. They're both solid-state drives. And then we have a third drive, which is where everything goes when it's all processed and ready to be uploaded. So I do the kind of work on it, render the video, and then I pick it up from one of the sort of solid-state drives and put it over onto a regular sort of disk platter drive. Again, this might mean nothing to you at all, but if it does mean something to you, then hopefully that's quite interesting. But essentially two hard drives without moving bits, because they're quicker, and a third hard drive more as a backup with moving bits because it doesn't need to be super fast. And it just can sit there and it's a bit more affordable. So got 3 hard drives, plus there is a backup hard drive as well plugged in where I put everything when it's uploaded. And we've kind of gone through it all, and it's maybe they're a month or two old or whatever. They've appeared on the Inside the Geek Cupboard videos, so they go on the backup hard drive. So I think we're on the 4th one of those now. I'm fairly sure that we're on the 4th drive, and that's filling up. I do need to get another one of those. So that's a thing that I do need to actually get. So they do fill up quite quickly because some games, some games when you record them have, so you can record the video footage or the game footage. Some of it's fine. Some of it's okay, and you go, okay, that's a relatively small file. Some games are not optimized, and the files are huge. The files are absolutely massive. I'm thinking Farthest Frontier. Farthest Frontier is a brilliant, wonderful game, but the video files of that game, the footage, were just huge. They're enormous. So you could get something like Project Hospital. Okay, it looks different. Project Hospital is possibly a little bit more basic looking, but Project Hospital, the file for sort of an hour and a half long video-ish, so without all the editing and stuff cut out, but it's probably around 1.5 to 2 gig. And that's okay. That's quite nice. That's sort of, a decent size. The same in Farthest Frontier would be about 6.5, 7 gig. And sometimes I go longer for that because I'd mess up, or there were bits where there's nothing happening or whatever. So the actual unedited video would be quite a lot longer. So sometimes it's 8 gig, 9 gig, and that's quite big. So when you have a 20-something part series with 9 gig of raw video for each part, that does mount up. You need quite a lot of space to store that. So I'm going through the backup hard drives. So I do need to get another one of those. Yes, I've got a wired keyboard. That's a relatively quiet one. I bought it because it's quite silent. It's a cherry keyboard. So it got good reviews for being quiet and not overly clicky. You can hear it when I type. You can hear it, but I think that's unavoidable. But it's not really loud. It doesn't kind of go click, clack, click, clack. It's relatively quiet. And I have a wireless mouse. I have this one here. It's a wireless mouse. It's a what is it? A Perix wireless mouse, but apparently that's quite good. And also, it's quite quiet as well. So I tried to pick things that are quiet because, of course, I'm recording stuff. And then I've got 2 monitors. I've got one wide monitor there, the main monitor. That's an Asus monitor. I don't know what the make is, but it's an Asus monitor. And it's good. It's very good. It's got sort of good brightness and colours and depth and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite a good monitor. And then over there, I've got the secondary monitor, and it's a very old Sony monitor. that is not widescreen. It's classic old school kind of, square. It's a regular size screen. But yeah, I mean, it's very old. It's very old. I had that a long time ago. And it's a bit broken. The power button doesn't always work. It sometimes gets stuck. So you kind of have to, it either gets stuck in which case you have to kind of prise it out with tweezers, or it gets stuck out and you have to really kind of whack it with something to make it go and, switch on. It's not great, but at some point I will buy another one. I will buy another monitor, but that one does the job for now, although it's not wide. It's not a wide screen, which isn't great, but it's okay. It does the job for now. And then what else have we got? Oh yeah, and the mic. So they've put, what specs you have, how many monitors, what microphone. Yeah, so I've only got 2 monitors. I mean, really, in an ideal world, I'd like another one above the one in front of me. That'd be quite handy. So I could have the sort of widescreen monitor there. Then above it, I could have all of the sort of recording stuff. And on that one, I could just have other stuff. I don't know, notes or whatever. Or, like if we had Crusader Kings 3, I could have a big list of sort of potential names or whatever that I could look at. Or if we were doing Project Hospital, I could have the wheel of names on that screen so I could just go over and click on it. That would be ideal, but alas, I don't think I can do that right now. Might be a bit of a push in the Geek Cupboard, there's not that much room. And yes, microphone, I have a Blue Yeti, and it did used to be on the desk when I started the Geek Cupboard. It was sort of positioned on the desk on like a foam thing that I made myself. So it was the foam packing that you get that you would have sort of Citadel miniatures in. Like if you did gaming sort of miniatures, you can buy these kind of boxes with foam inserts and you take it out, you put your figures in, and they're all protected from being scratched and bumped around and broken and stuff. So it was that. It was a little box, and then I took out the foam stuff and then sat the microphone in there, so it had some padding. So if the desk did bang, or if, I don't know, let's say the front door banged or something, and it sort of shook up into the house, you wouldn't kind of hear it kind of, shaking in the microphone. And then I replaced it, so the microphone is now kind of up there, above me as I'm speaking. Hello, microphone, looking up at you. And it's on a kind of a positionable arm type thing. So it's clamped onto a shelf up there, and then the arm kind of bends down, and then the microphone is sort of positioned just above the monitor. So I can still see the monitor, and I can still talk as well, and you can hear me. And I think that's kind of it. I mean, I've got various other bits and bobs. I've got some headphones. These are new. These are relatively new. I've got some, what they're called, HyperX headphones. Got these. They're quite nice. They're a very good set of headphones. They're way better than the last ones I had. So, the last ones fell apart, but these are better, immediately better. So, got those. And don't know what else there is. There's a Steam controller about somewhere. We've got there's a, what's it called? Hang on a minute. Which one is it? An Oculus. There we go. It's behind me. So the Oculus is kind of in and positioned. And I do have the kind of the sensor camera things. There's one on top of the computer there and one over there balanced on the hard drives. So the backup hard drives provide a little sort of platform for the other Oculus kind of sensor to go on. But I don't use it very much. I don't use that very much at all. And then we've got like a Wi-Fi wireless connection dongle thing there. And I'm using I don't know what it's called, the actual terminology, but the thing where you plug into your house sort of power main thing. So you plug it into your power. So it's a plug that goes into a plug socket, and then there's another one downstairs. So I've got a matching kind of special plug thing. The one downstairs plugs into the router to get access to the internet, and then the one up here plugs into the back of the computer, and then some sort of magic happens and the data moves between the two through the power systems of the house. I don't know how it happens. I'm not going to pretend to understand how it happens, but it works. And that's kind of it. I think that's it. I think that kind of covers all the kind of computer setup and technical specs and probably other bits and bobs. There might be some stuff I've missed out on, I don't know, but it's okay. Mostly, it's set up to be quiet. That was kind of what I designed it with in mind, because I thought, you know what, it's going to be on the desk, it's going to be near to the microphone, it needs to be quiet. Because the last thing you want to hear while someone's playing a game is sort of the humming of a computer, and then the hard drive's kind of going making noises. So you don't want that at all. So yeah, I thought I'd just design it to be quiet, and I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Apart from when it does this kind of I'm getting hot and I'm making lots of loud cracking noises thing, then it's mostly sort of quiet. It seems to do the job quite well. But now in the future, if you do hear that in future videos, if you'd hear a kind of a clicking and a clacking noise in the background, or what sounds like a banging sometimes, it is probably the computer. It's either that or the kids would be like banging around the house or something. But it's more than likely going to be the computer getting hot and kind of metal expanding and such like, and it just kind of clicking and clacking as it sort of shuffles around a bit as the things inside change size slightly and what have you. So there you go. Now you know. So hopefully that answers that question okay. I mean, if there are any more technical queries, pop them into the comments and I'll try and answer them, but I don't really know too much about it. But I will give it a go if you would like to know a bit more. I'll try and answer them as best I can. But yeah, I think that answers the question that has been asked, which is wonderful. I've got some very nice tea to go and have, so I will go and have that, and we will wrap things up for the moment. So for now, thank you very much for joining me on day 15 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022, and I will see you next time. Yay! Okay, exciting things are happening. Where does Gigantic Big Stabby Knife live? They're D&D nerding. They've got a dice tower and they've got character sheets and they've got some dice. Oh, this is wonderful. Living my best life. Oh my goodness me, so much undergarmentage. Oh, thank goodness. Praise be, the kettle has been uncovered.